Hi, I'm James. Welcome to Sketching Finance, where we simplify finance through visual storytelling. Welcome back to day 9 of your 90-day transformation. On day 1, we upgraded your financial operating system and fixed the core mindset. Since then, we've built your defense, mastered compound interest, and hunted the silent killer of inflation. You've protected your home. Now it's time to conquer the world. Defensive saving will keep you from being poor, but only the growth channel will make you truly wealthy. In the US and Europe, a 5% high-yield savings account is just a holding pen. To reach the $1 million milestone, you must own the engines of production. Today, we open the gates to the 2 greatest wealth creators in human history, equities and real estate. Change your lens. When you buy a stock, you aren't gambling on a ticker symbol. You are hiring the most brilliant minds on the planet to work for you 24/7. When you buy Apple, Tim Cook and thousands of elite engineers are now your employees. When you buy Microsoft, Satya Nadella is running global cloud systems to put profit into your pocket. This is the ultimate form of capital leasing. Instead of starting a business yourself, where 90% fail in the first 5 years, you are buying into the winners who have already conquered the world. You provide the capital, they provide the labor, the innovation, and the scale. You are now the boss of the global economy. How do you choose your employees? We use Warren Buffett's concept of the economic moat. A great company must have a structural advantage that competitors cannot steal. This could be a brand people love, like Coca-Cola, or a network effect where everyone has to use it, like Visa or Google. If there is no moat, competitors will eat the profit and your employee will go broke. We also look for free cash flow, or FCF. A great business is a cash machine. It brings in real dollars after paying for all expenses and future growth. This is the money they use to pay you dividends or buy back shares to make you richer. If a company doesn't produce FCF, they aren't an employee. They are a charity project. We only hire the best. Jack Bogle, the founder of Vanguard, gave us the ultimate shortcut. He said, "Don't look for the needle in the haystack. Just buy the haystack." Trying to pick the next Tesla or Amazon is a full-time job that even most professionals fail at. In fact, 90% of active funds underperform the market over 15 years. Use an ETF, an exchange-traded fund, like VOO for the S&P 500 or VTI for the total stock market. By doing this, you hire the 500 largest companies in America at once. If a company fails, the index fires them and replaces them with a new star. It is a self-cleaning, automatic wealth-building machine with almost zero management fees. Now, let's talk about dollar cost averaging, or DCA. It sounds easy when the market is up, but it's a psychological battle when the market crashes. Most people run away when prices drop, but as a professional, you must see a 30% crash as a once-in-a-decade sale. DCA allows you to buy more shares when they are cheap, lowering your average cost. Your survival brain will scream at you to stop, but your wealthy brain knows that since 1900, the US market has always recovered and hit new highs. To win, you must automate. Set a recurring investment on Fidelity or Schwab for $100 a week and forget your password. You don't manage money, you manage your emotions. JP Morgan proved that the cost of being afraid is devastating. If you invested $10,000 in the S&P 500 for 20 years, you'd have over $64,000. But if you panicked and missed just the 10 best days of growth, your return drops to less than $30,000. You lose half your wealth just by trying to time the market. The best days usually happen right after the worst days. If you stop your DCA during a crash, you miss the recovery train. This is why you need an IPS, a written contract with yourself. Sign it today. Promise your future self that you will never stop buying. especially when the news says the world is ending. Now, let's look at real estate, the game of leverage. This is why real estate creates millionaires faster than stocks. Banks love lending for houses, but hate lending for stocks. Robert Kiyosaki teaches us that good debt is money you use to buy an asset that pays for the debt itself. If you have $100,000, you can buy a $500,000 house using a mortgage. If the house grows 10% in value, you've made $50,000. That's a 50% return on your original $100,000 investment. However, leverage is a double-edged sword. If you don't have the cash flow to cover the mortgage, the lever will crush you. If you're finding value in this video, please consider subscribing. It helps me create more content like this for you. To survive the leverage game, you must follow the DTI rule, debt to income. Professionals in the US and Europe never let their total debt payments exceed 36% of their gross income. If you go above 43%, you are walking on a tightrope without a net. Your cash flow from your job must be strong enough to carry the house even if it's empty for 6 months. For rental properties, we use the DSCR, Debt Service Coverage Ratio. You want this to be at least 1.25. This means your rent covers your mortgage, taxes, and insurance with 25% extra left over for repairs and vacancy. If your DSCR is below 1.0, you are feeding the property every month. That is not an investment. That is an expensive hobby. Why do I recommend building $100,000 in stocks before buying real estate? One word: liquidity. If you have an emergency and need $20,000, you can sell a portion of your ETF in 48 hours with zero fees. If all your wealth is in a piece of land, you are asset rich but cash poor. You might be forced to sell the whole property at a 30% discount just to get cash fast. Liquidity is oxygen. In the early stages of wealth building, you need to be agile. Stocks allow you to invest $100 a month, and compounding starts instantly. Real estate requires a massive down payment and has high transaction costs, often 6 to 10% in agent fees and taxes. Build your liquid engine first, then use it to fund your fortress. The pivot point is when your stock portfolio reaches a critical mass, around $100,000 to $200,000. At this stage, you have enough dry powder to put a 25% down payment on a prime property without emptying your accounts. You move from the wealth creation phase of stocks to the wealth preservation phase of real estate. Physical property is a great hedge against hyperinflation because you can adjust the rent annually. By the time you reach this stage, you have multiple streams: capital gains from stocks and passive income from tenants. This is the end game of the growth channel. You are now protected by both the global economy and local land. Are you wasting your time? Many people spend 4 hours a day staring at charts, hoping to beat the market by 2%. If you have a $50,000 portfolio, that 2% extra is only $1,000 a year, but you spent 1,000 hours to get it. That's $1 an hour. Your time is worth much more than that. The Spiva report shows that even the geniuses on Wall Street usually lose to a simple index fund. Instead of trying to be a part-time trader, be a full-time professional in your career. If you use those 4 hours to learn a new skill or lead a project, you could increase your salary by $20,000 a year. That is a 40% increase in your principal. The ROI on your own career is almost always higher than the ROI of picking individual stocks. If you still want the thrill of picking stocks, use the core and satellite strategy. 90% of your wealth goes into the core, low-cost index funds like VTI or VOO. This is your non-negotiable retirement engine. The remaining 10% is your satellite or play money. You can use this to buy Tesla, Nvidia, or whatever hot stock you believe in. If your satellite stocks crash, it only affects 10% of your net worth. You are still on track for your $1 million goal. But if they explode 10x, you get a massive bonus. This keeps you emotionally engaged without putting your survival at risk. It's the best of both worlds, the safety of an index and the upside of a moonshot. Never forget, you are the biggest asset in the growth channel. Your ability to earn income is the principle that fuels everything else. If a $5,000 certification leads to a $30,000 annual raise, your ROI is infinite over 20 years. Investing in your human capital has no downside risk, and no one can take your skills away in a market crash. Spend the time you saved from not watching charts on improving your value. The faster you grow your income, the faster you can nuke your debt and flood your growth engine with fuel. Wealth isn't about the percentage you earn. It's about the gap between what you earn and what you spend. Widening that gap is your primary job. Professionals don't wait for the right time. We automate the process. Set up your automatic investment today. Every month, a fixed amount should leave your checking account and move into your core ETF. By the time you wake up, your wealth has been purchased. You become a set-and-forget millionaire. Automation removes the decision fatigue we talked about on day 4. It ensures you buy the dips and buy the peaks, smoothing out the volatility into a beautiful upward curve. Your only job is to stay employed and stay out of the way. Let the 500 best companies in the world do the hard work for you. You have now mastered the growth channel. You understand stocks, ETFs, real estate leverage, and the ROI of your own time. Your homework: check your current investment fees. If you are paying more than 0.5% in fees, you are being robbed. Switch to low-cost ETFs tonight. Tomorrow on day 10, we explore the Wild West, speculative assets like crypto, and how to finalize your asset allocation. We will wrap up the foundation phase and prepare for the 80 days of execution. Subscribe and hit the bell. I'll see you on day 10.